Hello everyone, in this video I want to go over some changes that I made to the Docker image recently for the TK4 Hercules system, and I also want to go over some basics that I got from the TK4 manual on how to change your user password and also how to shut down the system gracefully. Okay, so one of the main things that I changed, one of the problems that I was having as I was going through the documentation was that every time I would make a change to my user password and I'd shut down the Docker container, once I would bring it back up, and the password would go revert back to the original one. And that's because when you run a Docker container from an image, it always goes back to whatever the image was originally. So it goes back to the defaults. So I wanted to add some persistence, and again, I'm not an expert in TK4, so please, if any of you have any suggestions on how to handle on which directories I should be persisting, please let me know. But I did do some reading and I added some directories for persistence that I thought, based on the documentation, I should be adding. And if you go to my GitHub page or even the Docker Hub page, you should be able to see the README file in there. And you'll see that now I have both the original command to run the TK4 Docker container, and also how to run it but with persistence. So I have a persistence section. And in this section, I go over the different folders based on the documentation that I found, what they're for. And again, based on that, I figured these are folders that I should persist. If you want persistence, then you should just copy this whole command here, go into your terminal, paste it, and run it. Okay, so I've run mine. It gives me this SHA right here. And if I go to my localhost here and I refresh it, it should show that it's already starting up. Okay, so it's starting up, it's going through the initialization process. I'm gonna also start up my X3270 terminal, so I'm gonna open up Quartz. I've already added a shortcut here for X3270. I'm gonna open it up. Unfortunately, it doesn't save my settings here, so I have to change the font. Size 20, and I want to be able to see a toolbar. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and connect to localhost 3270, and we can see TK4 is starting up. We don't have the login prompt just yet, so we got to give it a few seconds here to start up fully. So while it's doing that, let me go back to the web console that it has. So in here, one of the things that I noticed was I thought this was some kind of banner ad just to make it look all vintage, but this actually has functions, and this gives you statuses on the server. But it has some buttons here that are really hard to read, but if I hover over them, it tells me what each button does. So interrupt, load, power off, power on, stop, start, restart, and then status, store status. So one of the times that I was working on this, I think I hit stop or power off, and it actually did shut it down fully. So that's definitely one way you can shut this down. I'm not sure if that's a graceful way to shut it down, but we'll go over how to do that according to the documentation. Alright, it's not giving me the login prompt, so I'm just going to hit enter here. I noticed that if I just hit enter and I just type in the username herc01. Now I've already changed my password to see you now, sorry. You can see that even though I shut down the container, I can log in with that new password. But let's go ahead and go through the process of changing the password. So once you log in to the TK4 system, to be able to change your password, you actually have to log off. You have to do that at login time. So there's a button over here in the toolbar called PF3. So we're going to click that twice, and it shows us this ready prompt. I'm going to type in log off, and that actually logs you off. And now again, I have the login prompt. So I'm going to type in herc01. And then to change your password, you do it here when you're logging on. So I'm gonna put in my current password, CU now, and then I'm gonna put in a /, and then I'm gonna put in a new password, CU new. How about that? So I'm gonna hit enter. Now it's not gonna show anything, but it's made the change. I think the log here should tell us that it's made a change. If we refresh it. I don't see it here. I think it's still in the middle of trying to start up. Oh no, it does show. It says password update for user herc01 queued. And then it's finished. It starts that process and then it finishes it. Okay, so that means it's already made the change. So how do I know? I'm gonna log off. I'm gonna press PF3 twice over here, type in log off, and I'm gonna type in my username, herc01. Now I'm gonna type in CU new, and there's the password. But how do I know this persists? So that way if I shut down the Docker container, it'll show up again. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's shut it down first. So let's go back to the ready prompt over here, PF3 twice, and then I'm gonna type in shutdown. Okay, it says the job shutdown submitted and it's ready. So when we do that, I'm not sure why my auto refresh is not working, but I'm gonna go ahead and do this. You can see it's already received the shutdown process command and it started the sequence. I presume this is if you're in a multi-user system, you know, you don't want to impact the users abruptly, right? You want to be able to slowly, you know, shut things down and log people off and all that. So this is the more proper way to do it, at least from what I read in the TK4 documentation. If we go back to my terminal over here, it says, it gives me a logon prompt again, which is interesting, but we know it's shutting down because it's saying it's draining the printer, shutting down MVS. So basically it's bringing everything down. Now I still don't know how to read all these messages yet other than what it shows right here. But I know it's working because you can see a lot of messages saying that it's okay, that it's shutting down. So now I'm getting a typical error when you don't have access to a website anymore. So I'm just going to hit refresh on my browser. You can see I can no longer get in here. Now how can I confirm that? Well, I'm going to do a docker ps and you notice that the Docker container is no longer running. Let's go ahead and run it again. So I'm going to press my arrow up key. I'm going to run that full command with the persistence. If I don't put the persistence stuff here, it's just going to revert back to the original Docker image. So you got to start it this way every single time that you're going to use the Docker container. So, oh, it automatically refreshed. You can see that now for sure it's starting up again. I'm going to go ahead and reconnect over here. Let's see what it tells me if I hit enter. Oh, it says wait. Okay, now it gives me the login prompt. So I'm going to type in herc01. And I'm going to type in the new password, right? CU new. And there it is. Okay, so again, purpose of this video was just to cover the changes I made to the Docker image to add persistence. Again, if you have suggestions on what other directories I should be storing, let me know. And I can make the change on that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys.